Alright, seems like I should be live. I don't see any image yet, so I have to just kind of wait for it. There it is. Okay, so, I guess I'm live. So it says. So we'll trust it. What the hell? How much trouble can that cause? Alright, so this has to be moved over a little bit. So anyway, I'll just start, I guess, with some comments. You know, some guy, somebody, whatever, some person. This is not working very well. Anyway, left a whole bunch of crap here. It's basically, I guess, a review of Unzicker's previous book. So it's not even his most recent pamphlet book thing. And it's just such a pile of crap, and so I just thought I would comment on some of the crap in here. So, you know, he says, I'd probably enjoy this book. The Higgs fake, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think the whole particle physics as described in terms of using accelerators to smash shit and then say because there's a certain amount of energy released, we're going to call that energy a particle. I think that's crap. But I do believe in particle physics, in the sense I do believe things are made out of these quanta of energy and that electrons and protons are indestructible. I don't believe that protons are made out of quarks. I don't believe that electrons are made out of quarks. I don't believe any of that crap. So we might share that in common. But look, frankly, he's talking about a variable speed of light, which to me is absolute ridiculous crap. And then that would essentially be a duplicate for some sort of relativity theory, as if you could be in a frame where the speed of light was different. I don't even know how it would possibly work. Just crap. And he's all full of anti-particles, all of Dirac's bullshit. So, you know, he's no better than them, frankly, in terms of imaginary functions. He doesn't have any explanation for charge or magnetism or anything. So his physics isn't any more coherent, in my opinion. So it says here, I share Unzicker's respect for the something grants of quantum mechanics, giants, okay. Dirac, Einstein, so, you know, Bohr, this stupid model of the atom, it's backwards, it doesn't even make sense. Pauli's a stupid made-up exclusionary principle, so apparently he believes in spin and all these other things. So why not bother? Why bother not believing in the idiotic particles when you believe in the idiotic functions? So if you're going to give particles these idiotic functions of spin and shit like that, when the experiments don't really have any of that crap in it, the de Broglie wave crapola, like electrons have a wave. So these aren't giants. These are all the failures. These are the people who drove physics into the toilet. So it's a joke to sit there and say these are the heroes of physics. These are the people that made up these silly theories that are absolute shit. And the only thing saving Einstein's reputation is that he spent most of his life fighting, okay, Bohr, Pauli, de Broglie, and Dirac. All right. Who moved our investigations down to the atomic level in the 20s and 30s. No, who made up a bunch of silly functions that don't exist, okay? Silly nonsense. Wooey, wavy, mushy, silly crap. I mean, you could just take the quotes from Bohr. Bohr was basically defending a God-driven universe, for fuck's sake. His famous quote to Einstein, don't tell God what to do, you know. Fuck that. This reductionist program went off the rails. It is reductionist. So again, so what is the alternative to reductionism? What? God? The universe gets more complicated as you get to the smaller, more elemental bits. So as you get more elemental, there's more sophisticated functions. There really are ESP particles. Fuck you people. Went off the rails when the search for smaller and smaller components of matter was pushed below the nuclear level. Yes, I agree with that simple statement that there's really no evidence that because you give an electron or a proton or a sequence of electron, proton, electron, different amounts of energy, that you've created some different kind of particle. It's not a particle, it's just an arrangement. Just like the photon, it's an arrangement of quanta. It is not itself a particle. It is made of particles. That's how it creates a frequency. Anyway, push below the nuclear level while many unsolved problems still remain at the atomic level. Blah, 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 blah. In fact, the whole research, I just can't believe, like I said, I mean, to defend Dirac, fucking antimatter, Einstein, fucking bent space, Bohr, fucking backward atom, in the sense that the electrons are spinning around, orbiting like a solar system. No, they're in positions. They're not orbiting. You can't share an electron that's moving 458,000 miles an hour. Pauli and whatever, this stupid function that there's no two alike conditions in the universe or some kind of crap like that, which doesn't mean a damn thing. And then de Broglie's stupid fucking electrons are waving. Fuck that. Alright, anyway. Gotta quit saying the F-bomb word. Anyway, revised science needed to start investigating the synthetic challenge of how larger and larger aggregations of matter arise in nature. Blah, 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 blah. No, we don't really need to do that. Electrons and protons really do explain everything. Electron and proton together are neutrons. There, that's really easy. Now we're done. It's just electrons and protons. It's just charge. And you're just saying there's an arrangement of charge, and the arrangement of charge can create functions like light at a frequency, or the manifestation of magnetism, or electricity. Yes, arrange the protons and electrons in a certain configuration and push them around in a certain way, and you can explain any phenomena that exists. Okay. Even the second simplest atom, namely helium. So it's not that simple, because in a sense it's made out of what? 3 hydrogen atoms, if you really think about it, right? I mean, the neutron is a hydrogen atom. The then you have the 2 other protons and electrons, so there's 3 hydrogen atoms essentially. Has resisted insightful investigation that were so fruitful with the simple 2-body hydrogen atom. But again, you still have to understand that the 2-body hydrogen atom is really basically a neutron, and a hydrogen 2, okay, is what you're really talking about. So it's not really the simple hydrogen atom when you're really talking about hydrogen 2. But anyway, indeed, contrary to modern mythology, quantum mechanics itself is still riven, I don't know what that means, with massive problems of its own interpretation. I don't know what that means. Such as waves and spin. So why not just, dump that shit? When the truth is that all we have are mathematical recipes, and they're wrong. 1/2 mv squared, mgh, the work equation, force equals force times distance. No, it's force times time. So what good is your math? It's all premised wrong. For calculating simple results in trivial situations, and calculated wrong. No evidence for any of that crap. These were the challenges facing the quantum giants when they died. So this is the joke. These are the quantum giants. Bohr, de Broglie, all these morons. Shit. I don't know. But the following generations quickly avoided these deep problems. No, your people avoided these problems and made up fake bullshit. I mean, it's just so ironic. This is such an ironic statement, an ironic complaint. Problem substituted massive and expensive machinery to constitute smashing. Yes, okay, who cares? I'm just saying this is such a minor issue in the sense that the standard model is impossible to make a standard model atom. You can't put the antimatter in it. You can't put all the fucking bullshit little elements in it. It doesn't even function. It doesn't work. It doesn't do anything. If you want to draw an atom, you draw electrons, protons, and that's it. And you're done. That's an atom. All right. These never seemed imaginary particles are simply bundles of imaginary unobserved mathematical properties. Well, they're more than just unobserved in the sense that they are observed as energy, but yes, they're not what they say they are. There's no fucking neutrinos, such as strangeness, isospin, color, fractional electrical charge. Yeah, well, that's the same as spin, which are all localized to a point. Yes, well, they're localized, but the very idea that you would assume a size when you don't know what their size is part of the problem. So the I mean, they're all basically singularities in terms of how they're doing the math, but they don't give them any spatial dimensions. So the mathematics of field theory may then be invoked, blah, blah, blah. Unzicker summarized all this quirkiness as, I don't know what that is, crap. Some kind of crap. Yeah, and so is his crap. I mean, he's as devoted to a big pile of crap as any of them. Invested in bent space and wooicles. Okay, far too many careers in physics over the last 50 years have been constructed around these endeavors, so that few professional physicists dare join Unzicker and risk their own careers publicly criticizing what has become the orthodox mainstream of academic physics. You do have to make an argument. I mean, that's your obligation. So if you're going to challenge the physics, then you have to challenge it with more than, I think it's stupid. You have to do a little better than that. And the fact is that they have woven a very good bullshit narrative, but it's only good if you accept all of the axioms shoved in it. You have to destroy the axioms, the axiom of mv squared, those kind of things. That's where they're vulnerable, and nobody's hitting them where they're the weakest, which is all of those fundamental statements about how the world works. They haven't gotten energy right. They can't get anything right after that. Once you break energy, you've broken physics. As one who decided many years ago that modern physics had just become a math game, well, part of it is a math game because part of it is 3 dimensions in space and geometry and things moving in that geometry. So yes, you have to accept that some part of it's going to be math, but the real part that was stupid was the abstract part, the singularity part, the infinitely small, the infinitely large. That's where they fucked it. And redesign it from a professional physics to, and redesign from professional physics, I don't even know what that means, to pursue real world opportunities, whatever. I have no hesitation in adding my informed support, well, whatever your informed support is, says me. Alright, okay. Unzicker is a scientific journalist. Everybody's a journalist now, that doesn't mean shit. That has been tracking these atom-smashing projects for several years and is almost unique in challenging the research both directly and in point. No, he doesn't attack anything. He's made an argument that lots of people make, is that they have a lot of confirmation bias built into their analysis of these accelerator experiments. So I could just point out that the first positron experiments, the first guys who did it, they said, it's just a fast proton. And then, the third or fourth guy shows up and says, I'm going to call it a positron. So, maybe it's just what they decide. One guy decides to say it's something, and everybody goes with that for no really good reason. Okay. As a result, he is now able to share his deep criticisms with the general public. Isn't that special of him? Some of whom have been long cultivated by this modern saga. Captivated. He does a magnificent, no he doesn't, no holds bar hatchet job on the merry band of bandits led by famous academics with supersized egos. So again, to talk about egos when you're talking about Bohr, de Broglie, Dirac, I mean, it's just such a pile of shit. And so his most recent book is basically some bigoted pile of crap where he's trying to resurrect and say, oh, the European physicists didn't talk shit, when they're the ones who invented all this fucking bullshit. I mean, it's such a pile of shit to blame Feynman or Gelman or any of these other people for the crap, when the crap came from Europe. such as Gell-Mann, Glasgow, Letterman, who I never even heard of these, Tang, Ruba, Yaya. So whatever that is, all well rewarded with Nobel Prizes and huge salaries. Yeah, so did your assholes. While promoting abstractions that can best be understood as modern theology, exactly what bent space is. The whole process illustrates consensus construction. Yes, and frankly, again, you could say your heroes are all part of that bullshit consensus. Wacky bullshit, antimatter. No good reason to believe in it. This is the book that has needed to be written for many years, as modern physics has gone off the rails since 1960. I went off the rails. See, they're trying to blame like Feynman and some of these modern idiots. When the quantum mechanics was decided in the 1920s, and it wasn't decided by a single American. Okay, not a single American name could you mention that had anything to do with Bohr's wacky model or Einstein's relativity or any of this crap. Okay, so it's just such a pile of crap. He writes a book saying America does shitty physics when no, Europe did shitty physics. Eddington's bullshit experiment. I mean, come on. With its dangerous, I don't know what that is, amalgam of mathematical fantasy and experimental gigasm, ever since the physicists made their, oh dear, what another big fat word, whatever, deal with the U.S. military. So again, yes, there's lots of, there wouldn't be any LIGO, gravitational wave detector if it wasn't for the fact that they could apply it to some military purposes, like eavesdropping and whatnot. Unsurprisingly, the Nobel Committee awarded their prizes for physics in the following year to bless this highly expensive enterprise. Yes, obviously this particle physics crap is related to the invention of the bomb, same kind of players, and so obviously it has some sort of, legacy utility. Like they think they're going to make the next super weapon. So yes, there's incentive for the military to approve the expenditures. Even Unzicker himself gets caught up in the mania for numbers that were assumed by Enlightenment mathematicians like Newton and Galileo. So again, they don't do that much math. I mean, if Galileo's math is going to trip you up, you're really in trouble. To characterize nature when most people would be just satisfied with the greater insight built into our new and often simplifying assumptions. So again, this is just so ironic that he uses people like he says great physicists are Dirac, de Broglie, and whatever the other guy's name were, when all they were was mathematicians. They never did an experiment in their fucking lives. Just because a few experiments agree to huge precision with measurements, I don't even know if that's true. It really isn't. Anyway, it does not mean that our theories are on the right track. Well, it's a pretty good piece of evidence, frankly. If you get any huge precision, and the argument is they say that, but is there any kind of real precision here? Measuring doing an experiment to a higher and higher precision does not mean your conclusions regarding what's actually happening in the experiment are actually correct, or that your process is actually correct. Don't know what this is. Ptolemy model was Ptolemy, I guess that is. Model was vastly better, judging by numerical confirmation, than Copernican models. So why even go back to all that crap? Unzicker also skewers several of today's pop physicists for their, whatever it is, fatuous remarks, such as Brian Cox's comment that the Higgs particle is one of the most important discoveries in the history of science, on equal footing with the electron. He says lots of horse shit. I mean, absolute silly, fucktarded nonsense. You can see the Big Bang. You really can't see shit. Anyway, as Unzicker points out, there have been no new technologies arising from all this CERN particle research. Well, that's not really the point. The point is whether we're getting to the truth, and does it show how a magnet works, and it really isn't doing that, so fuck it. while the electron transformed the world within 20 years of its discovery. I don't know if, again, whether you're discovering an electron or you're just discovering the fact that you could push matter around with force, which might be the better underlying understanding, is that matter moves because forces push it. Anyway, the extensive use of the supercomputer for simulations and data analysis mean that few can check these calculations. I mean it all. Frankly, yes, of course, all science should be public, okay? So, but then you go right back to Alan Aspect, and that experiment was never repeated because he wouldn't let the technology, he wouldn't let anybody use his technology. Indeed, and they gave him a Nobel Prize. When did somebody ever prove that, you can turn matter into a gravitational wave? Indeed, experience with large commercial software programs implies that there are probably very many software bugs hidden in these millions of lines of computer code that remain uncovered for years. Yeah, you could find defects in the pictures they take from the Hubble telescope because they're using a bunch of math and different computer mechanisms to enhance the images, and through that enhancement process you end up with a confirmation bias. Alright, Unzicker does a thorough job exposing the great likelihood that almost all of these Nobel-earning discoveries are probably no more than instrumental artifacts due to selective data filtering based on anticipated underlying assumptions. Yes, they want it to look a certain way, they expect it to look a certain way, and their algorithm kind of makes it look that way for them. Such as the decay of unmeasurable, electrically neutral, invisible intermediaries. Well, what's the difference between those things and antiparticles or neutrinos or any of the other crap you think exists? Okay, what is never emphasized is that all we may be seeing in these super high energy collisions are harmonics of complex interaction. Well, whatever. Isn't that lovely conversation? Harmonics. La 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 la. So that's real physics? No, that's garbage. Effectively just wiggles and wobbles, not new particles at all. Yes, we're just seeing something moving at a different speed, made out of a different mass, especially as the inelastic scattering process is not understood. I don't know if that's true. Who writes this crap? I mean, they must pay people to review books and just write all this mush. Maybe it's an AI that does it. Alright. Unzicker loves to contrast the earlier QM search for meaning with today's search for meaning. The QM search for meaning? And that's not what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a search for an understanding of a model of the elemental functions. With today's invention of these fallacious, short-lived particles, so again, he's degrading the idea that it's particle physics for a damn good reason, because it has every appearance, when you really look at it, of being quantized bits of energy carried by corpuscles of some type, and certainly the rest of the matter bits are just electrons and protons. These lie at the heart of the standard model with its hundreds of arbitrary parameters, not least of which are the masses. Yes, well, they haven't figured out any of this stuff. Like I said, they haven't figured out that there's no strong nuclear force. If a neutron is made out of an electron and a proton, you can understand if I put another proton on the other side of the proton with the electron in between, that I don't need a strong force to push them together because there's an electron between them. Okay. So, of these so-called particles, a key physical concept, inertial mass, there's no such thing as any of this inertial crap, at the heart of physics since Newton, revolutionary theories around 1700. Well, Newton was wrong about inertia. There's no resistance to movement. I don't believe that Newton intended to imply that there was a resistance to movement. As a few realize, the mathematics of field theory cannot explain any mass. Well, the problem with field theory, again, is that it breaks three-dimensional space in the sense that it creates particles that don't have any spatial dimension. So why the invention of the new field, the Higgs orbion, should ever have been thought to provide an answer as long as has long been a mystery to me. So anyway, I don't think you're going to deconstruct field theory with these kind of tame arguments. You're going to have to provide some evidence that it doesn't make sense to understand that in the universe right now there's things moving, and you can just assign a value to every space in the universe and say, is there energy there or is there no energy there? Unzicker does a lovely dissertation in this chapter 11 of the nonsense thrown up in the area, such as whatever this is, breaking mechanisms while failing to predict a single mass anywhere in the standard model. Again, you can't even argue the standard model because it's such a pile of crap. I mean, it's made out of so much mush that you have no place to put inside the atom. There's no place you can put any of these objects. You know, the foundational reason for this whole expensive exercise, a few physicists today dare criticize the primary mathematical tool set of theoretical physics, namely field theory. So again, he keeps saying field theory, the same thing as, you know, the standard model, which I'd say that's not true, even though it's intrinsically riddled with self-contradictory infinities, yes, which are all been a real problem. Every student selected to study physics today has to be at the high end of mathematical ability. Yes, okay, so yes, the geometry, it's math. Some of the math is bullshit, some of the math isn't. So you can't just say math and poop on it. But anyway, like those earlier giants such as Einstein and Rutherford, they're huge intuitions for nature. So there's no intuition involved in Einstein's bent space relativity bullshit that just turns gravity into some sort of fucking tablecloth, which it's not, or trampoline, which is only a two-dimensional model dependent on gravity. The whole thing doesn't make any sense. You can't bend something in 3 dimensions. It's all a bunch of a pile of crap. Are no longer given a chance to research the modern world, whatever, blah, 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 blah. It just goes on and on and on. Propaganda, propaganda, propaganda. Look at all that crap. Yeah, I'm done. I don't like reading much. Yeah, I don't like it at all. Ugh. Let's see. I guess I have to have this. I guess this window has to be open for it to show up here. What the fuck? My email's not supposed to chime. He's not supposed to do that. Fucker. I'll have to teach you a lesson later. So there's no one in the chat? That's surprising. So there's only 10 viewers? 9 viewers. Okay. Well, maybe I won't hang around then. Yeah, maybe not. So, surprised there's nothing. Absolutely nothing. So anyway, so I just thought, I did some other guy's comment this morning and did a video, so I just had a little opportunity here, so I figured I would do a live room, see if there was anybody who wanted to argue anything in particular. Clearly I want to argue 1/2 mv squared, and I want to argue that a lever proves it's bullshit, and gun proves it's bullshit, and just life in general proves it's bullshit. Okay, it doesn't take 4 times as much gas to go 60 miles an hour as it does 30. And this is the foundation of the physics. All the physics has this in it. The mass of the electron, the stuff they say they've proven, with all this, most proven theory in the history of mankind, it's all based on that wrong assumption, a wrong definition of energy. And nobody will show up to the debate. So I can keep soliciting it, I can keep trying to provoke it, but can't get anybody to answer or respond. No one. Nothing. I mean, I kind of thought if you start stepping on their nuts a little bit, they might fight back, but they don't have any nuts, so you can't step on them. So let's see what else. I didn't want to get into a whole new subject. A crude version of the simulation I did. It was completely rebuilt, so it's still kind of crude. So I need some more development work. But yeah, it works. Just again, it's just not as it's not done. Another few days at least. One of them. I have to check on the other guy. Nothing. It's just kind of irritating. But like I said, what can I expect for free? Nothing would be the correct answer. Yes, I have no right to expect anything. But anyway. Nothing in the chat. Nothing. 11 viewers. Yeah, I thought there'd probably be more, considering it's the middle of the day, but nope. It's lower than 6 in the morning. I do better. Interesting. Well, there's something, Zach. Hi. And yeah, I don't know what the right strategy is to get somebody to deal with the subject. I guess I just have to keep raising the, how much I'm going to spend. Yeah, well, don't wear yourself out waiting, because I'm not going to do a philosophy stream for a while, probably. Just gets into so much trolly crap that it's hardly worth it. I want, conversation. I want to do some interviews or something like that, but we'll see what happens. Physics is the easier subject. It's based on facts and experiments, so the argument should be decisive. You should be able to you should be able to actually win an argument, a physics argument, because there's evidence. It's not some subjective thing. But we'll see. Just kind of, people are just cultists, basically. They just all belong to some group, and the group doesn't want to, nobody wants to really watch a fair fight. They just want to watch, like, sumo wrestlers sit on midgets or something. It's all just about petty bullshit. All the political stuff is just about finding out whether somebody cheated on their wife or some sort of crap, some I gotcha that doesn't have much to do with policy or anything important. It's just all slime. It's all baby bath water that people like drinking. So, still just 11. Yeah, it's just not good enough. So, not enough commenting action to maintain any point in conversing. So, if you need to type a question or 2-minute warning or something like that, so if the 13 of you can't produce a question or a comment, then Try again next time. Alrighty then. So, I guess I will say good afternoon and such, and so forth and whatnot.